here's Brody Brazil.
In terms of a response by Major League Baseball to this very vulnerable situation of prop bets and micro bets and parlay bets, there is something being pushed forward as a potential answer. But will that be the solution to this problem? It remains to be seen. What we do know right now is that Major League Baseball has collaborated with some of the main sports books across the United States. They're putting limits on these types of bets and also limiting them from being part of a parlay bet in total. I'll give you all the details. I'll let you hear from the commissioner, Rob Manfred, let you hear from some of the people behind the sports books and politicians, and then ultimately, at the end of this video, I'll give you my takeaways. This was a statement by Major League Baseball yesterday, kind of spells exactly out here what they're doing. Also, the timing of this is very interesting. All of this coming one day after two Major League Baseball pitchers on the Cleveland Guardians were indicted for allegations surrounding fixing pitches and subsequently fixing sports bets. Major League Baseball announced today the commissioner's office has worked closely with its sportsbook partners to proactively create new safeguards to limit pitch-level markets. Effective immediately, all MLB authorized gaming operators will cap wagers on pitch-level markets at $200 and exclude those bets from parlays. So micro bets and those prop bets limited to $200, and those cannot be attached to parlay bets combined with other things. These new measures implemented across sportsbook operators representing more than 98% of the U.S. betting market, basically they've worked with anybody and everybody here that they possibly could, are intended to mitigate integrity risks and maintain the transparency and data access benefits that the regulated sports betting market provides. Basically, they want to do this as transparently as possible, but as low risk as possible. Again, they're trying to make it very clear that by limiting the amount of money that you can bet on these situations and the lack of the ability to combine them with other situations, that it's not worth anybody's time to bet on these things where individual players can totally alter the outcome, and it doesn't take a group or a team of people. Most prop bets present limited integrity risk because they take into account multiple events that are influenced by more than one actor, like one acting person, one acting individual. And that's my point here. On some of these micro bets, for example, is the first pitch of the ninth inning a ball or a strike? Well, that really only is up to one particular person. I suppose maybe two if the umpire calls it a ball or a strike, or if the batter swings at the pitch or not. But is it going to be in the strike zone or not? A pitcher can definitely influence whether it's in the strike zone or whether it's a non-competitive pitch. And with Ortiz and Clase, that was the accusation and allegation here. However, micro bet pitch level markets, ball strikes, pitch velocity, present heightened integrity risks because they focus on one-off events that can be determined by a single player and can be inconsequential to the outcome of the game. And that's what I said in yesterday's video. It's these one-off bets where one player, one person has all the ability to influence exactly what happens here. And it's not a team situation where it takes 4 or 5 players to not do well and to intentionally tank the game on purpose and fix a game or fix a series. These are individual efforts which can be individually altered by one single person. The risk on these pitch-level markets will be significantly mitigated by this new action targeted at the incentive to engage in misconduct. The creation of a strict bet limit on this type of bet and the ban on parlaying them reduces the payout for these markets and the ability to circumvent the new limit. Essentially, they're trying to make it not worth your time or not worth anybody's dollar or certainly not worth an athlete's incentive. Hey, what's the deal? If you're only going to win $500 on making a pitcher throw a ball instead of a strike, how much could you offer that pitcher? $50? They'll never do it for that amount of money. So by lowering the amount of money across the board from the betting aspect to the payout aspect to the kickback aspect, none of it is worth it anymore. So does this ultimately fix the problem? More on that in just a second. We'll hear from baseball's commissioner, Rob Manfred, who said, quote, "Since the Supreme Court decision opened the door to legalize sports betting, and that was, 7 or 8 years ago now, Major League Baseball has continuously worked with industry and regulatory stakeholders across the country to uphold our most important priority, protecting the integrity of the games for the fans." our games for the fans. I commend Ohio Governor DeWine for his leadership on this issue over the last several months. The commissioner went on to say, I also commend the industry for working with us to take action on a national solution to address the risks posed by these pitch-level markets, which are particularly vulnerable to integrity concerns, right? Pitch-level markets, essentially these small micro bets, these small situational bets, prop bets, but again, even more micro than a traditional prop bet, one that one player can have total influence on. We look forward to continuing to work with all stakeholders, including licensed sports betting operators, elected officials, and regulators to ensure we are always protecting the integrity of the game. This is Christian Janetsky, president of FanDuel, which, by the way, is the official gaming and sportsbook partner of Major League Baseball, and FanDuel Sports Network is the named sports network of a lot of regional sports partners of Major League Baseball teams. Quote, the legalized sports betting industry is built on a foundation of dialogue and collaboration with our league partners and the states in which we operate. This initiative illustrates our unwavering commitment to build a legal and regulated market that roots out abuses by those who seek to undermine fair competition and damage the integrity of the games we love. They're basically saying, we're willing to work with you because they obviously do quite well on this business. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine had this to say, quote, I commend Commissioner Manfred, Major League Baseball, and its partners for taking this action to address the problem of micro prop bets. By limiting the ability to place large wagers on micro prop bets, Major League Baseball is taking affirmative steps to protect the integrity of the game and reduce the incentives to participate in improper betting schemes. I urge other sports leagues to follow Major League Baseball's example with similar action, end quote. And that brings me to the takeaways. I've been reading a lot of quotes and statements, and now I want to give some of my own perspective on this. I think the main takeaway for me is not just what came out here and this as a potential answer and solution to the micro bet, the prop bet problem that baseball has, but the timing of this is crazy. Literally 24 hours or so after two Major League Baseball pitchers, Clase and Ortiz, have been indicted for allegedly fixing pitches to fix sports bets. So what does that tell you? And their suspensions had been moved back from July into August, into the end of August, and then through the regular season. And now it looks like they'll never come back and play baseball again. They're not officially banned from baseball yet, but at some point, and based on this coming out too, you'd have to think that that is in the works as of this point right now. But all of this has been in the works. Baseball working with sportsbooks, do you think that they just decided to start this conversation 2 days ago or before the World Series? This conversation has probably been in the works for months behind the scenes because it's not something that sportsbooks easily probably wanted to do. It also goes to show you that Major League Baseball has some serious pull with sportsbook operators. Yes, they are partners. Yes, they are sponsors on some occasions, but baseball literally had to go to these sportsbooks and say, you might take a hit here on prop bets and micro bets and the amount of money. If we're going to cap it, we're obviously capping your potential revenue here, but you have to do this. Otherwise, we can't even secure the integrity of baseball, and you're not going to have a product. Baseball influenced the sports books to go along with this. Baseball has some pull with them. So in terms of baseball and operating with integrity and trying to keep the games from being fixed or wrong situations from happening, just always know how this played out. Baseball went to the sports books and said, you have to do this. They complied. They realized. So baseball does have the upper hand no matter what they'll say in all of this. But again, the timing of this, right? You see what I'm saying with the timing and how this came out and what's probably has been discussed for now weeks and months behind the scenes. And now this all comes out literally 1 week after the World Series on a Sunday. And then on a Monday, we get this development here with what baseball is going to answer this problem and how they're going to answer this problem. If the fears are individual, right? If we're saying, and I do believe, and I will get to my belief that I don't think a Major League Baseball team in this day and age would ever get together like maybe they did in 18 or 19? The Chicago White Sox / Chicago Black Sox, which came together and threw the World Series and got paid off for doing it, allegedly. I feel like if the fears are individual here, Does this solve the problem? Does limiting the micro bets to $200, the prop bets to $200, and not combining them with a parlay, is this going to be the answer? Or is this like trying to put duct tape over a hole on a boat? You know what I mean? Is this going to patch the problem for now, and we're only going to deal with it somehow, some way, in some other shape or form quickly down the road? Does this solve it? Was this enough of a drastic action to limit or prohibit players from going out and potentially fixing these situations and getting paid off to do so? And even getting paid off to do so, I want to go back on this. You look at a player's salary, the average player's salary, and I think Clase was due to make about $6 million next year, and I think Ortiz was sub $1 million, but pretty close to it. The point being, how much could they have been getting paid if this was actually going on to incentivize them to actually do it? Right? So by lowering all the amounts, are we cutting the problem off at the beginning by saying, well, people won't bet much on this and players would never get paid off as much on this? Are we basically saying there's two kind of gates here, and the biggest gate is that if players don't get paid off to do it a large amount, they won't want to do it? Is that what we're saying is going to solve the problem? Will this solve the problem? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. It is still my belief that we won't really have to ever worry about an entire team in this day and age collectively coming together and say, yeah, I'll get paid off. I'll get paid off to strike out 5 times today. I'll get paid off to give up 3 home runs today. I don't think that's going to happen because players have too much to lose on the whole. Like as a collective group, I don't ever see that happening because there's too many players that are too competitive and want too many things. You'd never get everybody on the same page. I also think you'd get somebody to rat out the rest of the group if, in fact, they found out this was going on. Sure, that could happen in the early or the late 1910s, but I don't think this is going to happen in the 2020s and beyond the way sports are. It's a big business now. It's hard to get that to happen, but individuals are individuals and they will make decisions for themselves. The other big question I'll leave it with here, will other leagues follow? I don't know that any other league has this big of a problem right now that baseball does because especially of the pitching situation, right? Like a pitcher can literally dictate ball or strike. And if it's that easy, or velocity, they can totally dictate that any and every single time. But will other leagues follow? Do other leagues have to follow? Like in basketball or hockey, for example, you're being defended in a free-flowing sport. Do you have total control over what happens every single time or in the very same fashion? So I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see if, number one, this is a good answer for Major League Baseball and sports books and the whole situation. If it is, then maybe, yeah, other leagues would follow suit. But at this point, I don't think we know exactly how it's going to go for Major League Baseball. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Also, while you're down there, thumbs up really helps me and this video and this channel. And speaking of that, hit that subscribe button if you're new here. I would love to see you back here next time. The best way to make sure that happens is to subscribe to the channel right now.